Thank you for joining us for this month's edition of About Business, your community show to find out about Arlington businesses, business leaders, and issues that affect our business community. On this month's show, we'll be joined with Sonia Mustafel, the owner of Essence of Coaching. So stay tuned. Sonia, thanks for coming and being with me today. I'm excited to talk to you about your business, Essence of Coaching.
Yeah.
So tell me what you do.
So what I do is I work with individuals and organizations as it relates to leadership development. So if you think about training and where can you go and get resources to be a better leader in an organization, that is what I do, and that's the true essence of coaching.
So if I want to develop my skills
Yes.
In my role, then I could call on you and you would help give me that one-on-one
That's right.
coaching and training. You probably also meet with staff.
I meet with staff, I meet with leaders in organizations and teams, right? So you think about what is it that you need to do to kind of just sharpen your skills, stretch that leadership
Get to the next level.
Get to the next level. That is
Okay.
exactly what we do.
Great. How long have you been doing this?
So right around 2008, right, when the economy tanked,
Right.
I decided to move out of corporate America and start my own business where I can really just truly focus on more individuals outside of the four walls that I was working in. So I'm excited and have been excited for a while now.
That's great. So you get to set your own destiny. So
yes,
with all the fun and the risk that
the
comes with that.
highs and lows that come with it.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. That's right. Well, so I like to talk about, we all started in high school because we're with a group of students here in the studio. I like to start with your path from high school to where you are today. What led you to where you are today?
Yes, so that's an interesting question because all of my friends in my network tell me, Sonia, this is what you said you were going to be doing. Had I known, I would have probably continued to do the same thing. But from high school, my undergrad, my studies were around business, and then I pursued an undergraduate degree and master's degree in business as well. Undergrad is in accounting, and I got my master's degree in human resources. And from there, started working in corporate America, where I actually had an opportunity to apply the skills that I learned in the classroom and actually take them into the work environment. So progressively moved up in the career. That's, I guess, one point that I want to make sure that most students know that even though you have a degree, you don't necessarily go to the top. You have to work your way up into that. And so I've been fortunate enough to have a pretty large trajectory in terms of moving from one place to another as it relates to career, and the career progression came as of just really working hard.
You know, you don't always have a job in the degree that you pursued either.
That's correct.
My degree was in history, and but I did get quite a few communication classes, which helps me with my role today. But you know, I thought my path would take me into a classroom to teach history, and life had a different path for me. So. I don't know if you have other staff that work with you or not, but I do know that you put teams together for different things that you do. How do you go about recruiting good people to help you with projects that you work on? Talk about that some.
Yes, so part of what I do is I pull in, depending upon the size of the projects that I have to work on, I pull in some subject matter experts who have delivered time and time again. And what do I mean by delivered? I've actually called on them and can count on them to actually, whether it be, looking up, Excel projects, doing some data analysis. Part of pulling that in is you look at someone's track record, right? Can you depend on them, and are they reliable? So reliability and accountability are probably the two most important traits that I look for as I pull people into the fold as I work on different projects.
And when you go into businesses, I'm sure the leaders you talk to, that's what they talk about too.
They're looking for it.
They want dependable people. They can teach some skills.
Absolutely.
There are some of those soft skills that are harder to teach, and so as we're talking with our students, as we get the opportunity, I like to emphasize those things that they can work on their character.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they can learn a skill in a job, but there are things about themselves that they need to develop very young.
Right, I would agree with that. And even with reliability and accountability, don't lose track of the fact it's time management. Right? So it's being able to manage your time, just like when you're in school. You got to manage your schedule. You know you have homework, you know you have deliverables, and you got to count on yourself first, right? And so when you go into the work environment, it's very similar.
Being organized.
Being organized, absolutely.
Helps you stay ahead of the game.
Agreed.
And, we're all looking for those opportunities to have a leg up.
Yes.
And so being very organized and being efficient with your time, being on time.
I agree.
Those are all things that I've had people tell me in the corporate world that if you can just do those things, that puts you ahead of almost 80% of the applicants.
It's very helpful to have that as a foundation in going in, because that's what I can count on. I can count on you to deliver and do the things that you said you're going to do.
And then if you have leadership skills like you're teaching,
yes.
That's kind of the full package there. So in your job, I would guess that a lot of feedback is important for you from previous clients.
Yes.
It helps you not only know how to sharpen your skill, but it helps you also gaining new clients. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so feedback, I look at it as a gift. Feedback is an opportunity for someone to give you some insight into looking at you from a different lens, right? And that's something that I get from my customers throughout the year. Most times, sometimes you can wait till the end of the year, but I try and source that information throughout the year so I can continue to improve. Feedback is an opportunity to look at what you've done, but I'll plug in there feed forward, because it's like, okay, so what do I need to do to keep moving forward? And part of that is, how do I take the feedback that I received and start implementing some things or some changes that are going to improve me, improve my skills as a leader, even a business owner.
And feedback comes in lots of forms. Sometimes
Agreed.
it's casual conversation. It could also be social media.
Agreed.
So
yes.
how do you deal with constructive criticism, as they say? As in your role as teaching people leadership skill, how would you talk to them about dealing with constructive criticism that they might get from someone in their business?
Yes, so constructive criticism is an opportunity for you to hear from another person about what is it that you need to work on, right? So it is constructive in the sense that it's giving you an opportunity to look at yourself from someone else's lens, right? We see ourselves, and if we had to rate ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10, we always may rate 9 or 10, right? But there's always things we can work on. We all have strengths, but we always have at least one development opportunity, and the constructive criticism gives you an opportunity to hone in on that and work on that a little bit more.
Self-improvement.
Self-improvement is key.
So in your opinion, and you're in a lot of different types of businesses, I would think, in your day-to-day work, what do you see as some of the risk factors out there for businesses and leaders in today's environment?
Probably the top two that come to mind in terms of risk factors would probably be people and processes. Risk factors, people. You got to make sure that you're in tune with your people, right? So don't take them for granted. Don't assume that you know what's going on. Take time, walk the halls. I'm a strong believer that you can't lead behind a desk. You can't lead just in the office. You got to get out there, walk the halls, talk to people. And then the process, the way we've done things 10 years ago is probably not going to be the way we need to do it going forward.
That's right.
So taking the risk is understanding that what got you here won't get you there. And you got to be in tune to kind of what's moving, what's driving the factors to just even think about school. I mean, you think about when our oldest daughter, she's at University of Alabama now, Roll Tide, but it was textbook, right? And then so my 11th grader who attends Arlington now, it's all about the iPad, right? You got to be able to change with the times and being in tune with people and processes.
And if you don't, the competition's going to roll over you.
Yeah. Yes, that was Lee Iacocca, right? He said, lead, follow, or get out of the way.
That's right.
And I think it's important.
And with people with the low unemployment rate we have now, it makes it very easy for people to be lured away from jobs. So you have to take care of your employees.
Agreed.
And I'm guessing part of that is offering them training like you do.
Yes.
You know, I think that some people would have in their mind that training is only to fill a need.
Yes.
But it's also to fill aspiration.
Agree.
And so talk about that. When you go into businesses, you're talking with people that may or may not be in that same role.
That's right.
5 years from now, but these are transferable.
Transferable skills, and you think about that most people do want training, and the additional training comes when I want to do something different, right? I want to get ready for that next role, or I want to stay in the current role. The current role
But I want to grow.
And I want to grow, and that's what professional development is. And so training shouldn't, sometimes it's seen as this skill over here if we have time, but if you don't make time to grow, guess what? Then the competition and your competitors, you may be left behind.
Some students think when they get that high school diploma or that college degree, they're done with education, but in your experience, that's not true, is it?
That's not true if that's the path that you want to go on. I think I think it's always important to be curious about what that's going to look like for you. For some, it may be the military. For some, it may be developing a trade. For me, it was school and education, and I knew that just getting my diploma and just getting my undergrad, I know I needed to do more, and I was interested in doing more.
Whether it's formal training
Yes.
or just on-the-job training, it's just growing.
It's growing.
And it's making us better people because we are curious, like you said.
Yeah.
We've got so much more we want to talk about, and we will be right back after this.
Difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter, your religion or, what part of the world you're from, that just sort of all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
Yo siento que soy parte de esa bendición que ese niño recibió al irse a su casa ya sanado.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Welcome back. We're talking today with Sonia Mustafel, owner of Essence of Coaching, her consulting business.
Yes.
And I'm sure you have a fascinating job because you get to experience something new. Just almost any project, any day can be different, and I think that's exciting. So tell me a little bit about maybe a typical week for you.
So the typical week for me requires that I am flexible and agile,
Yeah.
right? So I have a set schedule in terms of meeting clients, and they're on the calendar. And then what happens is in the course of the day, in the course of the week, other things get added to the calendar.
Opportunities.
That's what I look at them as, right?
That's right.
There's an opportunity to speak and engage with a client that maybe I hadn't in the past, and I always look forward to that. And so a typical day is, I say, if I had to describe it, is my life is like living for the pivot. Being able to pivot from one direction to the next. And you mentioned about the different clients that I have, and I do. That is what gets me up in the morning. I get excited about on a daily basis. Is no day is the same. It is different, and
It's exciting.
it is exciting.
Because you don't know what the next phone call holds, who the next client is.
Yeah, and then I think even the more is seen at the end result. Once the project is over, that I had an opportunity to come and help and assist individuals and organizations with their concerns around trust or communication and how to be better leaders in the organization. So
I bet it's very satisfying when you get some feedback that it's helped with
Yes.
whatever their objective was. So that's a good sense of satisfaction with your job. So you are in a lot of different businesses in the community. So take a look in your crystal ball. What do you think's out there that's coming in the business world and corporate offices? What is something that maybe the students today can look to as they're stepping into the corporate world?
Yes, so interesting question. I'm probably dating myself, but I do remember this cartoon it was called the Jetsons.
Right.
Right? And you could push a button and everything would be there. And I think if you think about the classroom and getting prepared for what's to come, online learning is what's new and improved right now. And I believe that there's going to be some sort of connection with current classrooms and international. And it's like when you come into the classroom and get affiliated with staying global, staying current, that there's going to be an opportunity for us to connect internationally. That's what I'm seeing in the crystal ball, if I had to say.
A little ahead of you. So yeah, the Jetsons, of course. But when I was in school, it was a lot more memory, drilling and learning facts and things. But I saw that starting to change as I was leaving college. And I think today, the students in the classroom, it's not so much what facts do you know?
Right.
Do you know where to get them?
Right. And how do you apply them? Right. So the testing has even changed. Right. It's not just memorization. It's how can you apply what you've learned into a scenario.
You see that in the business world too.
You see it absolutely. That is what's going. Right now we're in the space of innovation. Right. We're in that space of coming up with that new idea, and how do you apply that to the work that you're doing.
Okay, so I want to toss a couple things at you quick.
Okay.
And you just say anything.
Okay.
So if I said to you, social media versus social skills.
Social skills.
And talk about that.
So social media, I think it comes and goes, right? There'll be a new app, but the social skills I think are everlasting. You got to be able to talk, engage with people, and get to know people and connect one-on-one. I think that's what the future is, and currently for me as well.
I talk to a lot of business owners, and they tell me what they need in employees. When I have opportunities to share that with students, I like to do that. They say one of the things that they're looking for is someone that can look them in the eye and engage them. And I think it is something that we have to be careful not to lose with the fact that we depend on our technology so much.
I agree.
All right, here's another one. The Arlington business community is?
Thriving.
It is thriving.
It's thriving, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And we moved out here. That was probably, 13 years ago, and all the things that they said Arlington was going to be has been that and more. And so I'm excited to be a part of the journey.
That's great. Technology.
Ever-changing, ever-changing, incumbent upon you to stay on top of that, read that next thing to find out what's coming and figure out how you can adapt that skill.
Don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid. It's coming.
It's just a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
And one thing you can remember is change is constant. It is going to happen, and so just ride the wave.
Okay, if you'll share it, what's your secret sauce? What do you think? What's that one piece of advice that you could give to someone that you say, this has really helped me propel me along the way?
I think it's trust your inner voice. Not the inner critic, because the inner critic is a 24-hour, on call. Right. It's always going to be there. But your inner voice has served me well in terms of my guiding post in making the decisions to go left or right or stay ahead. And so I would say my inner voice, trust that inner voice.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we're here in a student production, and if you had the chance to go back and tell your younger self, give your younger self some advice, what would that be, besides what you just mentioned?
I would say continue to stay focused, but always do the extra credit. Always do the extra credit. And what do I mean by that? Is there are some days you may not feel like showing up, but you got to show up, right? And so by just doing a little extra, whether it be homework, whether it be studying an extra hour, putting the phone down. 20 years ago, we didn't have the phone, so you had to figure out how you're going to manage your schedule. But I was always a proponent of you just do just a little bit extra to kind of just keep yourself in tune with and just your workload.
And not only does that help you, with your employer, and they see that, but it helps you. Inside, it helps you feel better about yourself, whether it's required or not. It's
Yeah.
developing yourself, I believe, is important.
Totally
I think
agree.
it's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing some thoughts with us. I really appreciate having you on today. Let's do it again, okay?
Thank you,
All
Tanya.
right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
I am incredibly, incredibly proud to be a physician here at St. Jude, to be in a place where I know my patients are going to get the top-notch care, not only care, but also research happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every single person that contributes is a part of that St. Jude family that makes that happen. Because of the research, because of all the donors, because of everyone that is really committed to the mission of St. Jude, we're giving families hope.
I do have an event to share for your calendar. Please keep in mind on Sunday, April 5th from 5 to 7 p.m. we have Taste of Arlington here in the Rotunda at the high school. This chamber event will feature Arlington area eateries, and we are currently looking for sponsors and food vendors to participate. If you're interested, contact the chamber office and we can give you more information. Also, tickets are available on the chamber's website, and there'll be tickets in several banks throughout town. That's all for this edition of About Business.